You are in a cage of your own comfort. This is a little bit of a different kind of conversation that we're having today. I just got back from attending a local meeting for Toastmasters. And I was really inspired to do so because feel like I'm in a cage of my own comfort. I feel like my comfort zone has created this ceiling for me. And I am just finally ready to let go of what my coach calls the golden handcuffs. So, sometimes when your situation is just so good, you just get relaxed in your environment and you stop really going after more, right? And likely you are listening to this video because you're in a similar space, probably in your business where you are just so used to doing things one way and you are being called to do things differently, to switch things up, to try something new, to experiment with a new way of doing things. And you are kicking and screaming, and maybe you're at the brink of finally relenting. And so, let's talk a little bit about my journey of getting plugged into Toastmasters and what I'm hoping to get out of it. And I want this to be like a reflective moment for you of like where you've been called to like step out of your comfort zone and like what could that possibly yield in terms of benefits. So I love public speaking. Even as a kid, even though I got butterflies, right, and the bubble guts when it came to getting up in front of people, there was some just thrill that I got out of doing the thing, right? And so there was always the initial, again, butterflies, bubbles in stomach. But once I got up there, it was like I just became this different version of myself. And I just loved the spotlight, the reactions, like witnessing the responses on the faces of the audience. Like I loved it. And in high school, I was asked to give the baccalaureate speech. And so I've just had this continuous journey with public speaking. In college, I did spoken word. And there's this thing that happens when you are naturally good at something, when you have a natural acumen for something, where you can stop growing in that area because you don't feel like you have to, because it comes natural. Let me know if you can relate to that. But I have found that I realized as of late that I've gotten lazy in the area of developing my public speaking because it just came natural to me and it was easy, right? And I need to intentionally put myself in spaces where I can be inspired to do more and be more in this area. And so I'm excited because being in the room with the folks who are part of Toastmasters and just witnessing their unique styles, it just like my brain was starting to have all these ideas around, oh, I could try that. For instance, one of the presenters today just had a really great use of sound in his speaking. And I thought that that was really phenomenal. Like, I don't often think about how to use sound to just bring people's full body into the experience of what I'm saying. Also, I really enjoyed his use of space. I think space usage is a great way to really convey not only a storyline, but a sense of confidence. I find that when people take up space when they're speaking, they appear more confident. So it was just like reinforcing things in my brain that like I know of, right? Actually, in fun fact, in college, my major was rhetorical speaking, so public speaking. So like I know these things, but I don't always practice them because I'm not always in, I don't feel that tug to do so because when I do the bare minimum because I'm good at speaking, it tends to get a good reaction, right? But again, sometimes what is the downside of staying stagnant in a skill that you have, right? And that's what I feel like I'm being called to really explore. And so I'm excited about being able to be a part of this Toastmasters and see myself stretch through the process and witnessing how that can even make me a better educator in terms of podcasting. So, as you probably know, if you're tuning into this channel, I do podcast education. So, I teach folks who have businesses, specifically coaching businesses, how to plan, produce, and promote their own podcasting. And a big part of that process is helping them streamline their thoughts into an episode concept that makes sense. sometimes we just have so many ideas, so many things that we're passionate about, really honing in on a topic and breaking it down in a way that our audience can follow along with our points, as well as feel engaged and feel called to take action and not just passively listen. So I'm excited to see how I can take what I'm learning to be able to help guide my clients better. And also, I'm excited because one of my big goals has been to really increase the revenue that I'm getting around speaking. That ultimately, if I could speak all day long and like get paid for that, I feel like that would be my dream. I just love speaking. But again, I have been made a choice to be lazy in that area in terms of developing my skill. And so sometimes we want something, at least in our mind, we say that we want something, but then our actions that we're taking don't line up with that desire. And so I have to take accountability for the fact that, like, yes, while it has been my dream since I was little to be a public speaker, do my actions really align with that? Some would say yes, right? Because, oh, well, you have a podcast. And so you're constantly speaking and you're on YouTube. But those are honestly things in my comfort zone. Like, am I really putting myself out there in a way that shows that I'm hungry for this thing that I say I desire, right? And that's really what I want to invite you into is considering how are you staying stagnant in certain areas of life and business, and how is that impacting the life that you're currently living? Of course, I want to focus this on like business. I think that's really important, and that's where we tend to get really stuck. But if there's one thing that life has taught me is that those two things are interconnected. We cannot actually compartmentalize our life as much as we like to think we can. And so when we have certain mindsets and beliefs that show up in one area, it's likely they're also transferring to another. And so I just want to invite you to consider, man, where am I stuck and stagnant? Where do I have just stale energy that I'm just like not moving? Where are there things that I say that I want? What are the things that I say that I want that my actions don't actually show that I'm really committed to going after that? And there are just all these excuses that we make for why we don't do certain things. And one of the big ones that I have seen show up in my life and the life of my clients is, y'all want to know what it is? I don't think you really want to know because it's going to call you out, but I'm going to tell you anyway. It is perfectionism disguised as procrastination. So there's this thing that I see a lot of times where we say that we are actually trying to prepare for something, and until we have all of our ducks in a row, we are not ready to take action. But really what that is we are procrastinating because we are striving for something that isn't real or attainable, which is perfectionism. And you have to just like do the thing and do it messy and get the message from the messy and get the lessons from the messy, and it's awkward. And I feel like specifically in the area of podcasting, I feel like I've trained myself in that way. And there are these moments like today where I join a group of people, new people, and I, share that I'm a podcaster and they want to listen to my podcast, and it hits me. Oh my God, I am talking about my life on the internet. um, and I think that's one of the ways that I can know that like what I'm doing is in my comfort zone, because I really don't think twice about it. But I find that when I have the butterflies, when I have the nervousness, that's when I'm out of my comfort zone. And so to somebody else, what we're doing can be seen as like really brave and like a big deal, but to us, it's second nature. And so I'm comfortable in the zone of podcasting. I've been doing it for 4 years, and oftentimes I forget that the world is listening until, I meet someone in real life and they want to like listen to it. And then I'm like, I'm going to see you again. This is awkward. But I like push myself even in that moment to be like, I would actually love to know your feedback if you really do listen. Do I really want to know? No, because it's really awkward. But like, do I really want to know? Kind of yes. So even in the areas that we're comfortable in, there's still some space we can stretch ourselves in. Like for me, I'm stretching myself by telling strangers that I do this thing who actually will want to listen, and then like following up and being like, what do you think? Even though that's really awkward for me. Like I just like putting it out there in the universe and being like, wherever it lands, it lands. I don't want to know where it landed. um, there's just like certain detachment that I have to it that has been working for the last 4 years. But yeah. But even in that, again, so like that's my comfort zone. But I feel like the uncomfortable space for me is, or not uncomfortable, but the area that I would honestly say lazy in is like developing my skills around speaking. So I'm excited to really intentionally push myself because I find that when I put more energetic energy, I know that's really redundant, but when I put more energy towards, the thing that I say that I want, there is this invitation that I feel like I'm extending to the world of like, bring this to me. Like I am ready. And a lot of times we are waiting for the perfect moment, but the only one stopping us from being ready is us. And I guess I'm out here saying that like I am realizing that I've been in my own way, and I'm inviting you to consider, where are you in your own way in life and business, and how is that affecting other areas of your life? So this is not the typical style where I'm like teaching you something specific about podcasting. This is more mindset, because there's likely a reason why it has taken you so long to start this podcast. And it's likely because it's out of your comfort zone. It is going to push you in a way that is a stretch. It's going to cause you to feel a little bit out of whack because you're like, I don't know what to do here. I don't even know what to expect here in this part of the world. But there's something that you get on the other end of putting yourself out there. There is this, you're making room to receive more when you create the capacity for more by challenging yourself. And that is what I find as the biggest benefit to stepping outside of our comfort zone, is that it creates capacity. The reality is you could have done it 3 years ago. The reality is you could have done it 3 months ago. But the only reason you haven't is because you've made the conscious choice to shrink your capacity. And by putting energy towards the thing that is scary, that's a little bit outside of your comfort zone, that's going to require a learning curve, you are actually creating capacity. And that is what I feel like has happened through, when I put myself out there, is that it just creates capacity. I'm like strengthening a muscle. And then you realize, oh, that actually used to be heavy to lift, but it's not anymore, And so I'm excited to see you step outside of your comfort zone, try something new and different. And when you do, one, identify the thing, drop it down below. But when you actually do the thing, come back and tell me how it went and how you saw that actually transform and change your life. These are just the things that I am practicing on in this chapter of my life. And I hope that you will also do the same. And I'll keep you all updated. I also feel like it's confirmation that I really need to do this Toastmasters thing, because one, can I just say, there's this like 4-week training, and the exact amount of how much it cost, I received a random check in the mail for that amount. So I was like, I guess there's no backing out now. Don't you love when that happens? She said begrudgingly. But yeah, so I'm really excited to see what happens over this time period. And, if I feel inspired, I'll share more with you all about what I'm learning in Toastmasters and just the different ways I'm putting myself out there. Also, really cool. Apparently, there's like a module in their like training where they talk about podcasting. So we'll see if I can plug myself in there. That would be outside of my comfort zone. I do not go to places and say like, hey, I do this. Let me lead this training. Like So I feel like I have found another challenge for me to step into to increase my capacity. But yeah, so super excited. Thanks for chatting with me. This is literally, I feel like, the vibe of my podcast, where I'm just chatting with you all and updating you on my life. So if you like this, I guess I'll link the podcast down below and you can listen to that. Until next time, classic millennial goodbye. Peace.